Welcome to the Green Wasp Removal YouTube channel. In this episode, we'll be dissecting a bald-faced hornet's nest that we relocated from the grounds of a middle school in August of 2022. The relocation was a success overall, as the nest was able to survive until most of the pupating larvae hatched out before it was eventually hit by a windstorm and also appeared to suffer from animal attacks, probably birds or squirrels. We saw no more sign of life on the nest as of September 9th of 22, so we took it down to dissect it and show you what was inside. During that process, we were able to assist with the birth of several of the remaining bald-faced hornets who had not yet had a chance to get out of their pupation cells. The ones that looked pretty strong were released that day in the wild. The ones that needed a little bit of extra energy, we brought into a habitat to give them some food. Whenever we run into a native species of wasp, we try to relocate them and assist them however we can with survival, because we do need all of our native wasps in North America to help us with pollination and biological control of other pest insects. And bald-faced hornets are very good at that. You should always let them live whenever you can. So we examined the comb of the nest and also the envelope paper. Beautiful paper with many different colors of wood fibers in it, to show you what that looks like up close and how it's constructed, and also what you can find in between the layers of the paper, such as some deceased wasps and also this large spider friend that was a native species, so we let that one survive. So we'll jump now to September 9th of 2022, when we pulled this nest down from its relocated spot after we had seen it been torn up by animals and wind, and it showed no sign of life. We'll begin there, and we'll show you the entire nest dissection, the paper removal, and what we found inside. We hope you enjoy. Thanks for being here. From here, we're going to switch over to field audio as it was recorded on the day. September 9, 2022. Our relocated nest looks like it's had some animal activity that must have destroyed most of it, if not all of it. There's still some white capped off pupa in there. Pupating larvae, but I don't see any signs of life. So we'll probably take this one down pretty soon to collect the paper and use the nest cells as a specimen. It's possible birds or even other wasps have attacked the nest and begun tattering the paper and removing the contents of the nest, the pupating adults and all of the larvae. I don't see any larvae in there at all anymore. But as you can see, all of the larvae is gone. The pupating adult cells have either hatched out or been pulled out by predators. Hopefully they had time to hatch out before it was attacked. Look at the other side. We'll take a look here inside a couple of the remaining pupating cells, which appear to be defunct. And we'll see how far along the pupating larva got before the nest went dead. So we just removed the silk from one cell. And there appears to be a fully pupated adult wasp in there that was probably just about ready to chew out before the nest died. We'll pull him out and take a look at him. Looks like he's still kicking. There you go, buddy. This is a male. Maybe we'll bring him into the habitat, give him some food. This is a male. You can tell by his abdominal markings and his long antenna. We'll pull him out, give him some honey, give him some water, see if we can save him. Hopefully this is a good sign that those that were in the nest still, that are open, were able to pupate out naturally. We'll try to open this one next. So inside that cell we also had a pupating male. Appears to be still alive. Not sure if it's viable. We'll try to move him into the habitat, see if we can save him. So we'll collect these couple here that are still alive, and we'll try to rehabilitate them enough in the lab to help them survive, and then we'll release them. So we put these two in the habitat where we have another bald-faced hornet's nest we've been monitoring that is mostly hatched out and now defunct, it seems. But in that habitat there's some honey, some water, a fig. We'll see if we can get them to respond, take some food, maybe gain some strength. If so, then we can release them if they get healthier. We're going to do a forensic analysis on this nest. It appears it was attacked by animals and birds, so most of it's destroyed, unfortunately, but it does look like most of the pupating cells had time to hatch out, and that was the main purpose of this relocation. So in that regard, it was pretty successful, it looks like. We're going to open up the last of the pupating cells on the nest to see if those pupating adults are viable, because if we leave them here, they probably will not survive anyway. So we'll pull them out, try to get them into a habitat, give them some food and water, see if they can survive. We're going to put the paper into this container. We're going to put the surviving adults in that container. So to begin with here, we're going to remove the paper on this nest. Most of it was already separated from the nest. Sometimes inside the various layers of these papers, you'll find wasps. So anytime you take a nest at the end of a season, for example, you find one in the woods or in your local trees or on your property, and you take it as a specimen, make sure you check it out carefully. There's going to be spiders and insects and mites and earwigs, dead wasps, possibly live wasps. So just give it a good look over before you bring this into your home unsecured. If you have it in a sealed container, that's the best way to do it. That way anything that is alive in there, you can go ahead and deal with later. But it won't get out and run around your house. That's the main thing you're trying to prevent. Now if we look at the interior and check out the comb, you're going to notice a couple of things right away. One is the vast majority of the cells have already hatched out, meaning whatever pupating adults were in those cells are long gone. And that's exactly what we wanted when we relocated nest. This one came from a school locally here that we had to get it removed from just for the safety of the kids. And we brought it back into a private property to finish the pupation process, which it seems to have done for the most part. There's a couple of cells left. We pulled a couple of the remaining pupating adults out of the cells, 2 of them so far. Both were alive, but both did not seem to be thriving and probably would have died in their cells had we not pulled them out anyway. So we have them now in our habitat, and we're going to try to help them survive to the point where they can be released. Now we're going to take a look inside the rest of these cells and see what pupating adults are still remaining. But for now, we expect to find at least a couple live wasps just finishing their pupation process. Let's begin with this one. There we go. This guy's nice and viable. This is actually a female. You can tell by the 3 lines on her abdomen. She seems pretty healthy, and she jumped immediately into another cell. That's common behavior. So we're going to collect her, and we're going to put her into our container, and we'll bring her into the habitat where she can be safe and finish out her sort of wake-up period to allow her to come out eventually and be released as a queen, maybe. She's a female, so we're not sure if she'll be a viable queen or not, but we're going to give her the chance. Let's see what's in the next cell. There we have another live specimen. Let's see if they'll come out on their own. All right, welcome to the world, my friend. You want to come on out and join us? How you doing in there? We're going to let that one just sit for a bit, see how it's doing. Meanwhile, we'll open up his next door cell and see who's in there. Here she comes, or he. Let's take a look real quick. Who's this going to be? Hey, it's another female. How you doing, hon? Welcome to the world. There you go. For now, we'll let her just walk around on the nest and relax. Let's see what happened to this cell here that was next to hers. So this one looks like it was still pupating. If it is still alive in the pupation process. If you look carefully at this one, you can see it's in a different developmental stage. You can see all of the adult formations and the beginnings of wings, legs, antennas. So it's possible this one was still viable. Meanwhile, our friend over here is starting to walk around and explore. She seems to be doing okay. Let's take a look now at the next one. How you doing in there, partner? You want to come out? That one looks alive and well. We're gonna let that one step out and see how it does. We'll just let it take its time there. And meanwhile, we'll take a look at the next one. There we go. There's another one. Looks like all three of these are alive and well. So we're going to let them just kind of wake up, pull themselves out. This late in their development, you can actually assist with their silk cap removal, because it's quite possible, due to the dehydration in the nest and the heat and the lack of protection with the torn up paper that the animals left it in that state, it's quite possible they never would have been able to get out of their cells. So it's worth a shot to try to help them out here. Give them at least a chance at life. Let's see who's next. See if we can watch this guy come out of his cell. Here the female wasp is coming over to check out her roommates and her siblings to see who's still alive in the nest. As social wasps, this species is quite in tune with other living wasps in its immediate cell environment. So inside the nest, they're used to being a cooperative species that's in very close contact with one another. So it's not surprising that they seek each other out immediately after birth. And of course, birth we use as a term to describe the egg turning into a pupating adult inside the cell cocoon and ultimately hatching out by chewing through its silk cap, a step that we're helping them with today. So once these two get acclimated, maybe they'll climb out. In the meantime, let's take a look at the next one. There you go. Yeah, they're coming around. We'll let them take their time there. All right, so let's take a look at this cell. This silk is unbelievably strong. Really amazing what a strong material they can make. So here we have another one that is basically still pupating. There we go. This one looks like it was still in the midst of pupation. But it does appear to be alive. Unfortunately for that one, it'll have to be set aside as a specimen for that particular developmental stage. Alright, we don't see many more silk caps that aren't already opened on this nest. It looks like the last one is this one. So let's take a look in there. And here's a similar developmental stage to the last one that we opened, which this one actually looks deceased. Looks like it dried out and did not survive the pupation stage. So this one would not have survived anyway, because it appears to be dead. So in this nest, we have 2 survivors in the cells about to come out. We have one that we helped out. We have 2 others in the captivity habitat already that we pulled out that were similar to this one here. These 2 were still alive and may have finished the pupation process. And this one was deceased in the cell. Otherwise, all of these cells looks like they hatched out, which is great. The purpose of relocating these nests is for this exact process to have time to complete in the wild. And it did that. Many of them were able to hatch out. And now, hopefully we can save these last couple of pupating adults and help them to the phase of mating, which is the next stage of their lives. The female queens will leave the nest and try to find a male mate out there in the wild. And any males in the nest will do the same. They'll seek out a female and try to mate. We'll see how they do in captivity. Hopefully they'll eat some carbohydrate fluids and we'll get them to build up their strength and then release them. Hey buddy, wanna come out? Here, why don't you grab on? Typically when you allow them a leg up, they'll grab on and come out. Here you go, come on out. There you go, you got it. You ready? There, here we go, come on. Good, hang on. Pull yourself right up. There you go, good job. Nice. All right. See who this one is. This is another female. Hopefully the next generation of queens. You see how she has 3 white sections on her abdomen. That's how you know she's a female. Males have 4 of those white sections. So now we have 1, 2, probably 3 females here. We have one that's already here. Let's put her back on the nest. She's in this plastic container. Let's have her come out and join us. Here you go, hon. Let's put you back on the nest here with your buddies. All right, come here. Let's put you right there. Okay, so here we have 3 females. This one is very active. She's the one we had in the container for a short period of time. This one's starting to get out and about and explore. This one's still taking a nap, just relaxing after coming out. Let's see if we can help the next one out. Here you go, bud. You want to hold on? Go ahead. There you go. Come on. Come on. There. All right. Ready to come out? There you go. Here she comes. Nice. All right. Hey, this is a male. Looks like a brother. You see the white stripe on its abdomen up to the top of the abdomen. You can see because it has a white stripe across the upper abdomen, and it has 4 white sections at the lower abdomen. So we had 1 male and 3 females born here during this process. Glad to see them with us. So we have this female and this male and these 2 females. They look like they're doing okay. Welcome to the world there, buddy. Hopefully you're just in time for mating season. So we're going to let them just acclimate for a while. And we'll see if they want to go into the habitat later, or if they just end up flying off on their own. So as these guys get acclimated, here you can see how they go right back into the cells head first this time. After they're born, that's common behavior while they get acclimated. Ready to go off and meet the world? You be careful out there, buddy. Good luck finding a mate. Let's take a closer look at this paper. So you can still see the basic shape of the nest. Typical bald-faced hornets. As you can see, it's got that beautiful gray-brown striped pattern. And it's always gorgeous, this paper. You can see if you look at it like this, it's mostly solid on the top. It would hang like this in nature, of course. But if you look further into the layers, you can see here that the layers offer a lot of space in between. And all that airspace in between each of these layers is what creates the perfect living space for these wasps, because the air trapped between these layers of paper acts as an insulator against heat, against cold, and they just keep adding layers as needed until they get the exact temperature they need to raise their brood, which is this. And the brood is the larvae and the pupating adults inside the nest. So they know through many, many, many years of Darwinian development exactly what they need to do to create the perfect living space inside this paper for their nest. As you look at this nest, you'll see stripes. Each stripe is a separate layer of paper that was created by the wasp going out into the environment, collecting wood fiber from wood of this color, usually grayed out, ultraviolet damaged wood, weathered wood, from garden stakes or patio decks or old sheds, or even lots of natural old logs and what have you. So this color paper came from that color wood. And this color paper came from that colored wood, a little more brown. So each strip you see is from a different sourced wood. That's why they're all slightly different colors. Wherever you see the exact same color, it's likely that that wood came from the same source, or just a similar looking source. But this paper is very tough. You can see the consistency of it. It's relatively thick, and if you were to touch this, you'd feel that it's kind of similar to the feel of maybe grocery bag paper. An older grocery bag paper, when they were made out of paper. Some of them still are, but most of them are plastic these days. But it's that feeling. It feels kind of thick and fibrous. And dry and pretty tough, really, all things considered. I mean, it is delicate enough that you can crush it and tear it, but in the environment, this stuff really lasts. It's very windproof and waterproof, and generally weatherproof. I mean, it's rare to see one of these destroyed by a rainstorm, for example, or a windstorm even. They often survive all of that. Now, if you look at this angle, you can see the many different layers of paper it takes to make a nest. And as each wasp comes in and does one of these strips along the edges of these nests, they work and work and work until there's huge sheets of this paper. And each sheet has a job to do in the insulation process. And it also protects the interior of the nest from birds and predators and parasites and other things that would attack the nest if it were left open. And this comb has basically one large layer, it seems, as opposed to a multi-stacked layer like you see on some nests. Slightly raised toward the center. So let's take a look at the layers of this paper. See if we can pull a layer off intact. If you look at how it's attached, they build them in certain points to attach together. And you can generally gently separate that to explore in the nest. It's not difficult to pull the separate layers apart. Here's a deceased wasp. As we were saying before, sometimes you'll find wasps inside the layers of paper, so you have to be careful, as some of these will be alive when you find them. Beautiful colors. Here we have another deceased wasp. It's easy to get lost in that paper, so you want to look out as you're going through here. When you find these in the wild, if you collect them, there's a lot of wasps in the layers of the paper sometimes, but oftentimes they're deceased. But when they're alive, you don't want to run into them by accident unless you're protected. The reflectiveness of the paper is very interesting. It just blows out in the camera lighting, so you can see it better in the shade actually. If you hold a single layer up to the light, you can see how it's actually built. So it's not solid. Each layer allows quite a bit of air through the tiny holes you see in each layer. but from a distance, it actually looks solid. So between the many layers in a nest, the wasps have created many layers of screen. It's camouflaged, it's temperature controlled, it's humidity controlled. The engineering of this is truly magnificent stuff. Take a look right here at the bottom of this tray. You'll see there's a spider in there. He crawled right out of one of the layers of paper. So remember, when you find these in the wild, you may find wasps that are still alive. You may find hibernating queens. You may find spiders of all sorts like this one, who all kind of borrow these nests as home. Here's a better look at who was camping out in our nest. Trying to stay hidden, that's for sure. So as we were saying, sometimes as you go through these pieces of paper, the layers on the nest, you'll find some hidden friends. Here we have a spider. Like most native species, most of them are beneficial to the environment. So if you do find any hidden friends in these nests, do your best to let them go without killing them. Especially spiders, whatever it is, we're going to want to let them go. So in general, you just have to be careful as you go through these layers of paper. You just have to look out for whatever natural beasties might be living in them. And be ready for anything. Could be any kind of insect, any kind of wasp. Sometimes other species of wasps will camp out inside a nest like this because they find it to be a comfortable home for whatever reason. There are many different little nooks and crannies on these nests. We've gotten through most of the pockets and layers of this nest. Haven't found any other spiders yet. Found one spider, a couple of dead wasps. But that's about it for the beasties in this nest. These types of pockets here, these are where you'll often find spiders or wasps or some type of insect. So some people like to hang bald-faced hornet nests up for nature decoration in their homes or offices, what have you, garages, and just be fully aware that whatever you do with a natural hornet nest, Vespula wasp nest, Delico Vespula wasp nest, it may well have quite a few habitants that you don't want in your house. So if you're going to leave it intact and bring it into your home, be ready for a couple of things. One is all the roommates you might have inside the papers, the various layers of paper. The other is in the brood itself, and you can see our two newborns here have gone back into the cells. That's their abdomen sticking up there. We're gonna let them just acclimate for a while before we let them go. But the brood itself, when you bring one into your home, you want to make sure all of the living organisms are out of the nest. All of the hatching has been done. In other words, all of your pupating cells are open. There's nobody left trying to chew their way out. There's no larvae left in this nest. You see a little debris down in the cells. That debris is usually the leftover pupation materials, the moltings and skins that were left behind when the pupating wasps came out, that kind of thing. So here we have 1, 2, 3 that were newly born. You saw those come out of the cells on this video. You want to make sure all of those living organisms are out of the nest before you bring it into your home. And if you leave it intact, you can't always see inside to know that. So some people freeze them, or you might want to heat treat them. If you have a big enough oven to put them in, for example, you can heat the oven up 150 degrees for a couple hours, kill off anything alive that might be in it. Or you can freeze it, deep freezer. Big deep freezer can take most nests. Let's see what's underneath this big cap here. You can actually see how it's constructed and how it's attached to the branches. There's a pretty amazing, intricate structure in here. Many different little cells, and most of this is very hard. It feels like wood. These pedestals, they call them. These are the structures that raise up the nest in between layers. They're as hard as some forms of wood. So as you can see, each of the small twigs that are part of the wood structure here, the nest is welded to it through the saliva and the enzymes of the wood putty or pulp that the wasp creates when it forages wood fiber from the field. It brings it back. It begins applying it in layers to the natural wood of the structure they're going to build the nest on. And that stuff is incredibly strong. It really is amazing how strong that ends up being. If you look here, this structure, the pedicels between the layers of comb, very tough. Tough to get this metal tool through it even a little bit. You have to use a fair amount of pressure to crack that loose. So you can see why these survive so well in the environment, even in weather that's relatively bad, inclement weather. See how our 3 friends are doing. 1, 2, 3. Now you see, right here's number 3. You see how even though we bop around this nest pretty good while we're working with it, they stay very well secured in their cells. I mean, you could really shake this thing hard as if a windstorm was bashing it around, and these guys wouldn't move at all. They're perfectly protected in there. And that's why they have kind of a natural instinct to crawl out of their cell, chew their way out of the pupation cell, go right through the silk cap, and when they come out, they walk around. If they're not ready to explore yet, they go right back in, head first into any other cell they find, and they'll just hang out in there until they're ready to come out. You see them bopping around in there. They're just getting acclimated. So that's it for the field audio on this. That's it for the forensic analysis of the nest. Here's a shot from the original placement of the nest that we found in the wild on the grounds of a middle school in northeast Indiana. It's where this nest came from. It's a beautiful little nest. It was interesting to have a relocation that we could show you that was successful, that allowed all of the pupating adults to hatch out and survive. So we encourage you, wherever you are in the world, if you happen to have a wasp nest near you that is a native species, that is possibly able to be saved and relocated and protected, we urge you to do that. If it does have to be removed due to the safety issue like the one we had to take from the school because it was near children that could have been stung, when that has to happen, at least try to relocate it and help it survive in another location. It's possible to do it. It's effective. It works to one degree or another. Not all of them are a great success, but many of them succeed to some degree. And every wasp we have in the native environment does a job for us that is a very important job. So please don't poison these nests. Please just don't automatically spray them with toxic poison. Do your best to arrange a safe and green removal yourself or through someone you hire. It's just not that difficult to hire a company that knows what they're doing and doesn't poison the environment in the name of making a buck. Do your part if you can. Just do your best, it's all we ask, to protect your local ecosystems and protect this planet. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for the interest. Thanks for the support. Have a good one.